お時間になりましたので、これより英国大使館ケンブリッジコンサルタンツ社ワークショップ
Well, it's time to start British Embassy Tokyo Cambridge Consultants Workshop, Best Practices of UK Japan Collaborating in AI for Business
進
Prosperity.
行はケンブリッジコンサルタンツ代表
From
取締
Cambridge
役
Consultant,
笹生弘隆様が
Country
務めます。
Manager Japan,
それで
Mr.
は司会の
Hirotaka
バトン
Saso
を
will
笹生
serve
様
as
にお渡し
MC.
いたします。
Now, Mr. Saso,
笹生様、よろしくお願いいたします。
please.
皆様こんにちは。
Everyone,
ただいま
good
ご紹介に
afternoon.
預かりました
Well, thank you very much for your kind introduction. My name is Saso from Cambridge
エンジ
Consultants.
ニアによるビジネスのためのコンサルティングを提供してい
Well, we
る
provide consultation for the engineers. We are a UK company. And here in Nihonbashi, which is a starting point for Tokaido, and UK is known as the origin of AI. So today we would like to talk about how the Japanese companies can utilize the expertise and specialty of the UK's in AI. And we actually conducted the joint questionnaire survey. And the 8 leaders from Japan and UK on the AI had a discussion, and we would like to, we would like to share with you the observation of the round table discussion. And today we have Mr. Tim Enso, who were actually in charge of supervising the discussion. And we have today, the Mr. Hiroyuki Kumazaki from Hitachi, as well as Mr. Somemiya from the Semiconductor Solutions. But first, Ms. Marie-Claire Joyce, the Counselor, Department of the Trade Investment in British Embassy Tokyo, will extend a few words of greeting. Thank you for your kind introduction. My name is Marie-Claire Joyce, Counselor, Department of Trade Investment at British Embassy Tokyo. Today I'm here on behalf of Chris Heffer, who is not able to make it to this session today due to an urgent business requirement. And first of all, thank you very much for participating in this workshop, Best Practices of UK-Japan Collaborating in AI for Business Prosperity, out of many other choices to attend. In AI history, UK has served a very important role. Even on global basis, we have an excellent AI strategy. And the UK government budget for AI, as well as the research activities, as well as the venture startup funding, has been very strong. And adoption of AI is taking place extensively in the UK. In terms of the number of AI enterprises, UK is the second largest following the United States. And AI venture capital funding, the UK is the third largest following US and China. In order for UK to provide AI to Japanese businesses, what initiatives are ongoing? What I have to first mention is that the British Embassy in Tokyo is the only supporter of AI Transam among the foreign governments. And our collaboration, of course, needless to say, through that collaboration, we have conducted the UK season campaign from last month, and the largest tech event, which is a London Tech event of the United Kingdom, well, amid the pandemic of COVID-19, is addressing the smart manufacturing sector, which is actually a rising need And the startup companies in this area conducted the online pitching in that event. And in Nikkei Transam, AI of UK as well as mobility companies, actually 15 of them in total appeared in that event. With the startups which are very promising in the future, as well as the businesses who already have partnership with Japanese companies appeared in that event. And I would like to introduce you some future collaborations between Japan and UK. And in November last year, major Japanese supermarket chain Aeon had partnership with Ocado, which is a UK online business. Utilizing the Ocado's technology, automated robotics is automated warehouse will be established into the Chiba Prefecture to 100 million customers. Online shopping choices will be offered, and by 2030, Aeon aims to achieve 600 billion yen of online sales.
そしてケンブリッジコンサルタンツが
And Cambridge
オカドの
Consultants
ロボット開発をサポート
support
したことを
Ocado's
忘れずに
robot
お伝
development,
えしたいと思います
which is something that I should definitely mention here.
自動車業界では
In
日本のマツダ
automotive
が
industry,
英国
Mazda
の
of
AI スタ
Japan
ートアップ企業セカンドマインドと手を結び
signed partnership with the Second Mind UK in the startup, and the automotive engine production process optimization is being worked on. Second Mind's unique machine learning and decision engines utilized by Mazda, so that in competition with other competitors, Mazda enjoys
AI
advantage.
企業ではありませんが
Not AI company, but in mobility
日本最
domain,
大の宅配便会社であるヤマトホー
home
ルディン
delivery
グ
company
は
Yamato
8
Holdings
月英
in
国のスタ
Japan
ートアップ企業ドドルとの連携を発表しま
signed
した
partnership with Dodo UK
海外
company
の
in
スタートア
August
ップ
this
企
year.
業との事業は初めてです
This was the first
Dodo
startup
の
companies that they
プラットフォームを活用し
partner with,
ヤマ
and
トは
utilizing the
コンビニ
Dodo's
ドラッ
platform,
グストアス
Yamato
ーパーなど一層幅広い場所で
will
週に返却サービスを提供しています
provide service to
こうした
extensive channels,
勢いを
convenience
維持する
store,
ため
drugstores,
に
and so on.
本
In order
セッショ
to
ンは
maintain the
日本企
momentum,
業と
in
一
this
層密
session,
接に連携
we
できる
hope
分野
that
の
we
確
can
定を目指しています
finalize and identify the area
事
where
前に
UK can
日本
collaborate
企業を
closely with
対
the
象に
Japanese businesses.
現在
And
の
prior to
AI
this
活
session,
用例や導入の
we
課題
did
を
the
めぐるアンケートを実
research
施
and
し
our
ました
survey of adoption of
先
AI
週は
by
日英の
businesses.
AI
And
専
last
門家
week,
を交えて
we
その
with the
結果を
experts in
考
AI
察
from
しま
UK
した
and Japan, we observed the results of
今
the
日
survey.
はその
And
成
today
果
in
を
this
皆
session,
様と
we would
共
like
有
to
さ
share
せてい
with
ただ
you
き
the outcome
ま
of
た
that survey
日
with all of
立
you.
の熊崎
And
様
Mr.
ソニーの
Hitachi,
染宮
Kumazaki from
様から
Hitachi
も
and
コメン
Mr.
トをい
Somemiya
ただ
from
きます
Somi will going to
最
share
後
with
にな
you
りま
comments.
すが
And
本
finally,
日の開催にあたり
upon
英国市
having
場
this
協
session
議
today,
会様と貿易産業協力振興財団様から多大なご支
from
援をいただ
JETRO,
き
we
ました
received
ことに
extensive
感
support.
謝を申し上げま
And I
す
would like to share my
皆様
sincere
にとり
gratitude
まし
for the
て
support.
有意義な
I
時間
hope
とな
that
りますこ
the
と
session
日
will
英
be
の
a
パートナー
very
シップが
meaningful time
ま
for
すま
you.
す
And I
促
hope
進さ
that
れ
the
ますこと
partnership
を
between
期
UK
待
and
して
Japan
私のご挨
will further
拶と
advance.
させていただ
And
き
now
ま
I would
す
like to conclude my speech. Thank you.
ジョイスさん、ありがとうございました。では、ティム・演奏の方から、まとめについて、プレゼンテーションをさせていただきます。
Mr. Tim Ensel will make a presentation.
Over to you, Tim.
Thank you, Sasa-san. It's wonderful to be able to be here with you. I had the privilege of being involved in the roundtable that Ms. Joyce has mentioned, and also taking part in the survey which we described. So I would like to be able to share with you the results of the survey and also describe some of the discussion we had at the roundtable, which I was very pleased that Kumazaki-san and Somamiya-san joined, and we will hear their extra comments afterwards. I'm hoping you can see some slides which I had available. I can't see those, but hopefully we can see those. Perfect, thank you. If we maybe go back one slide, please, Sasa-san. Perfect, thank you. So to start with, I will very quickly introduce Cambridge Consultants. Next slide, please. I will quickly introduce Cambridge Consultants and what we do. So we are a world leader in innovation, and that means we help clients in many sectors with many different technologies to create new and breakthrough products which help them to do something disruptive and new in their markets. So our business is all about helping our clients to differentiate and do new things with novel technology, which achieve a new level of performance and deliver a great return on investment. And the example with our work with Ocado and their robotic warehouse, which was just mentioned, is a great example of that. Next slide, please. Our business is global, so I am speaking to you from the UK here, our headquarters in Cambridge. Globally, we are about 850 people, and we are an engineering business, so 90% of our team are engineers and designers and scientists. And we deliver many projects across every year for clients across the world. As well as investing in our own, as well as delivering projects for clients, we also invest in developing new technologies. And over the 60 or 70 years nearly that we have been established here in Cambridge, we have created 20 spin-out businesses, and that has created substantial value for the organizations they serve. Next slide, please. So, well, because this is AISUM, I wanted to share with you a particular piece of research we have been working on recently in AI. And this is showcasing AI to help machines to see things they have not been able to see before. So here we have developed an AI which is able to see through this glass that you can see on the left. And in real time, it can recreate the undistorted view on the screen below. We call this Sharpwave, and it has learnt that to be able to remove distortions from real-world images. And we think this is very valuable for applications such as autonomous machines and vehicles who have to see through rain and fog and dust. It is also relevant for medical imaging, where we're trying to see things through the human body or where the sensor resolution is low. And we think it is also relevant for removing compression artifacts from streaming video. So many applications. I wanted to share an example of some of our AI research before we moved on. So this is enough about Cambridge Consultants, I think. Oh, sorry, yes, last slide. Next slide. So very importantly, of course, to say we are a global organization, but we have invested very strongly in building long relationships in Japan. We have hosted an annual event here for 100 senior executives for the last 7 years, which is a great event showcasing the best of innovation across Japan. We have spoken very much through the Japanese media, and it's wonderful to be here with Nikkei today. It has been wonderful, and we are very pleased to have great relationships with some wonderful Japanese companies, including those mentioned there, working with them on their breakthrough innovations. And lastly, we have developed an innovation catalyst program where we are inviting 20 of the new and rising stars in Japanese industry to learn from one another about how to do innovation. And that's a great program which has been running for the last 3 years. So our relationship with Japan is very important to us. Next slide, please. As Joyce said, the UK has a great opportunity to work with Japan to see the next wave of innovation in AI. It was the origin of AI. So this is a picture of Alan Turing, who is widely known to be the father of modern computing. And he, in 1950, set the challenge of which became known as the Turing test, to identify when a computer would deserve to be called intelligent. And that was when it could deceive a human into believing that the computer was in fact a human. And this is still a benchmark test which people look to even today. As has been mentioned, the UK is the second country in the world for the number of AI companies, including DeepMind, Magic Pony. Second Mind has been mentioned already. And it is the third in the world for venture capital investment in AI. In addition to this, it is home to many of the world's leading AI institutions, such as the Alan Turing Institute and the Bayes Center and the Institute for Ethical AI and ML, and there are others as well. So the UK has a lot to say in AI, and it is very exciting to build a relationship with Japanese companies on this topic. Next slide, please. So as has been mentioned, what I want to do now is share with you the insight from the survey we conducted to show the great potential for UK-Japan collaboration. We have worked with the British Embassy and the Department for International Trade to conduct this survey, asking about experiences of AI development and doing that in partnership with other organizations. We received about 230 respondents, all in the last month, so this is very recent information. And I will share this with you now. Next slide, please. So of the 230 respondents, most of the people who contributed were Japanese technology companies. So 71% of the respondents are technology companies, with some consulting and venture capital companies as well. 90% of those respondents are focused on the Japan market, with 10% being international businesses headquartered in Japan. And slightly more than half have over 10,000 employees. So a very good representation of large Japanese tech companies. Next slide, please. Throughout the respondents, we had a very good spread of seniority and representation, with, I think, about 2/3 being manager, director, general manager, or executive. So a very good spread of commentary across Japanese business. Most of the organizations were focused on manufacturing, healthcare, robotics, and automotive. So a very good representation across businesses, but clearly focused in an area which Japan excels in, of manufacture and automation. Next slide, please. Of the respondents, we discovered that 70% have already applied AI to either customer products and/or their internal operations, with most of them applying to customer products, which is very exciting. I'm very pleased to see the use of AI to deliver new services to customers. In terms of the applications, the number one application was image processing, quickly followed by data analysis, with an increasing amount of interest in natural language processing. So these are quite commonly the three main AI applications we see globally. And Japan is mirroring the same usage of AI for your use cases today. Next slide, please. Very excitingly, 60% of respondents said they had chosen to work with a partner for their AI developments. And unsurprisingly, Japan was the preferred location for that partner. However, the US and the UK and the rest of Europe came very quickly afterwards in terms of preference for partner location. So it is clear that many Japanese companies are looking for partners in other territories to support them with their AI projects. It was also very pleased to see that UK is already number 3 in that list after the US and Japan. Next slide, please. Most importantly, the reason for, or rather the challenge which companies are facing, which leads them to look to partner, was around the lack of specialists. So 35% of our respondents said the key challenge in developing AI was a lack of specialists who are able to work and deliver innovations in this area. And the number of people citing this was twice as large as the next most common issue, which was lack of data. But it is clear that lack of specialists by far and away is the main challenge that our respondents identified. Next slide, please. As well as the data on those answers to those questions, we got some very useful comments from the survey participants, which show that in addition to these very clear answers, there is quite a lot of additional information. And those further comments show a few extra challenges around defining the purpose of the AI project. So it is difficult to define what an AI solution can do, what you can achieve with in your business using AI. There was a gap in the expertise, a lack of specialists, as I've mentioned. But interestingly, there were some very interesting points in the comments which indicated it was not just about technical knowledge, but also about domain expertise and being able to bring together the industry expertise with the technical knowledge. That was a particular challenge. There was another area of challenge around the difficulty to assess and measure AI. And this is either in the quality of the output that it provides, or in the difficulty of measuring that quality. And this was an interesting challenge which our respondents identified. And finally, there were also some comments about what I would call business inertia. So this is the challenges of getting the wider business to accept and use the innovations in AI. So a good representation, I think, and lots of detail on the challenges organizations have cited in delivering AI projects. Next slide, please. And all of these reasons, all of these challenges, you can see reflected then in the reason that Japanese companies have partnered for AI is to get access to the specific expertise that they wish to have to deliver their innovations. And that access to specific expertise as number one reason is closely followed by the benefits that they are aiming for of reduced time to market or access to new markets with their innovations. So I think it is very important to put these three together, the specific technical expertise linked with reduced time to market and access to new markets were the key reasons for seeking an external partner for AI innovation. Next slide, please. So that was a very useful survey of the 230 Japanese business people. And last week, we gathered together a wonderful panel to explore these themes in more detail. The panel covered major Japanese organizations, including Kumazaki-san from Hitachi and Sonomiya-san from Sony, who will speak later. Also a Japanese venture capital firm and some AI experts and research institutions from the UK. And we had a good discussion and captured many important learnings from that team. Next slide, please. So here in detail were the participants of the roundtable. Kumazaki-san and Sonomiya-san I have mentioned. Yamamoto-san from UTech is a venture capital based in Japan. Second Mind and Reinfer and Vishal Chatrath and Stephen McIntosh represent those two UK AI startups. Chris Moore represented the Department for Trade and Industry from the British Embassy. And then we had Professor Vikuyama from the Alan Turing Institute and Chris Skeldon from the Bayes Centre, representing some of the leading UK academic centres in artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. So in addition to supporting the views of the survey, the roundtable highlighted several further key benefits and challenges of partnering in AI. Now, some of the challenges mentioned are around the differences between the organizations. So in some cases, there will be different ethical guidelines and different approaches to using AI. In many cases, there were challenges around the knowledge, which is at how to get the knowledge to move from the partner, which may be a UK company, the expert in AI, into the Japan company who wishes to gain that knowledge. And so there was a challenge around ensuring that that knowledge transferred, and so it was not lost at the end of the partnership. There was an obvious point that partnerships are in tension with in-house initiatives. So clearly organizations need to balance where they invest and how much effort they put in partnerships versus their internal capability. And finally, one of the challenges, which I think is common to us all, was the challenge of language. Now, I have a wonderful time doing business with Japanese companies, and their English is fantastic, but there are nevertheless still sometimes language challenges. And of course, there are time zone challenges by partnering internationally with US and UK. And this requires planning and flexibility. On the benefits side, there was a wonderful comment that partners can create beautiful technologies. So there is clearly benefits to bringing in experts because of what they can create. And this was agreed by the participants. There was also an observation that international partnerships bring understanding and knowledge about the local markets that they work in. And so there is benefit to partnerships for that reason. And of course, there is experience from partnering. And particularly working with partners who have an understanding of what works and what does not work in AI is very valuable knowledge. And I think the last thing which was very important was this ability to combine specific knowledge in the domains that one partner may bring with technical expertise which another partner may bring. And this is good to reduce development time and deployment timelines. Improves time to market, as our previous survey said. So these themes were discussed very well at the round table. And I think my last slide then will, if I get the last slide, please. My last slide then, we moved on to formulating some best practice for partnerships. And we had several of these, but these four I think are very useful to consider. The first one speaks to the challenges of time zone and language, and also knowledge transfer. And so focusing on collaboration tools, such as digital twins and living labs, can really aid knowledge sharing and creativity, and also break down and improve communication barriers. The second one was a learning and best practice to collaborate across the value chain. So there was very good discussion about involving the end users in any collaboration to demonstrate the potential value of the collaboration and make sure all of the partners remain focused on the market. The third one was around a clear understanding of what each partner brings and what they want to achieve, and ensuring that those outcomes are built into a project plan. This is very much around ensuring success for all members of the partnership and making sure the partnership stays on track. And the last one was a good point around the use of local delivery partners to support customers in local markets. And I think this is particularly relevant where Japanese businesses may be exporting and working with customers in Europe or the UK, for example, and they're having a local partner to support their local customers in those markets is a very valuable addition to the skills that that partner can bring. So I think that is probably all I wanted to share with you. It was a very valuable survey and workshop, and we have explored many useful topics for partnering in AI between the UK and Japan. But I'm keen that now we hand over to Kumazaki-san and Sonomiya-san to hear their comments. So Sasu-san, thank you, back to you.
ティム、ありがとうございました。では、会場の方に。
Well, thank you very much. And now, back to the floor. And now I would like to ask Kumazaki-san to give us a comment. Kumazaki-san, please. Well, Saso-san, thank you very much. This is a great opportunity for me. My name is Kumazaki from Hitachi, and I'm a Chief Lumada Business Officer. And we are responsible for identifying the value from the innovation. And UK is an origin of the railway, and in railway area, we are doing a lot of business in UK. And the digital is also originating. AI is originating from UK. So we had a very good discussion. So this time, I believe that we are showing up the slides on the projection, and I hope that you are able to see this. Now, AI must contribute to the society. Then what do we have to think about? Well, and I believe Sonomiya-san is going to talk about this as well, and we had a discussion. And we of course need the expertise in the domain as well as the expertise in analyzing the data. And in each region, we have to have that. And these are the prerequisites. And because AI is still young technology, it needs to have accuracy and regulation on data as well as ethics or the morals. And we have to build a common sense in these points. And that's also what we discuss. And partnership equal ecosystem or open discussion, de facto or de jure discussion. Well, these are the different points of view.
じゃあパートナーシップで、ベストプラクティスということを言われているわけなんですが、やはりまだまだこれから作っていくものだというのが私の理解です。で、今申し上げたような観点において、ライトパートナーを見出していくということ、これがとても大切だと思っています。例えば、エシックス1個とっても、その同じような道徳感、倫理観で働いていただけるパートナーさんっていうのをどうやったら正しく見つけることができるのかというようなことは、やはりコモンセンスが成熟する前の段階ではとても難しい。
This was very hard until common sense was matured, so that was one of the challenges. Similarly, in terms of domain experts, it's easy to find such person, but whether you're able to share that domain knowledge is also a big challenge as we form the ecosystem. At Hitachi, whilst we do respect our in-house technology, we would like to have open discussions with people outside of our company, whether it be AI Patterson. We want to do a collaboration work is one of the things that we are doing. And the new technologies and technicians that come along, it is very useful. And as I mentioned earlier, it will provide a little bit of the answer to the challenges which I mentioned earlier on. So not only in the UK, but when we think about deploying digital business around the world, in the various countries and regions, there are various social challenges. How we can provide the appropriate people and personnel and resources at the right time, and how we are able to combine that with our partners through our discussion is also one of the big challenges. If I can give you one example, in terms of railroad in Europe, in particular in the United Kingdom, in Europe, the design thinker, or whether it be data scientists, we need such resource not only in research centers, but we need to secure these people through our partner companies. I can't explain you everything, but through such activities, gradually, in order to resolve the challenges that I mentioned earlier on, we want to have our activity with our partner to come up with a best practice activity. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamasaki-san. So the best practice is an area where you will always raise. So next, Mr. Somemiya, please. I am Somemiya from Semiconductor. Thank you very much for today. Sony conducts, operates various businesses, but at Sony Semiconductor, you may know, is doing image censoring. We are the leading player. In worldwide, last year, $16 billion, that's about 1.6 trillion market, and we have 53% of the shares. So how, through image sensor, we can go to sensor technology to be known in the world is our next challenge. And in terms of that sensory technology, whether it be machine learning, through deploying this through cloud AI has already penetrated, but one of the important things we believe is going to be edge AI, which means to partnership, connect that with edge and cloud, and also have edge to have AI, and with machine learning and computer visioning, not just provide sensor vision, but with utilizing various AI to utilize utilize these solutions is what we want to take in the long term. And within that, as Mr. Kumazaki had mentioned, I would like to speak regarding that frame. AI or machine learning, in particular for us, it's image processing. As we form partnerships, the domain knowledge which experts have is important. The used case is very wide, and recently under the COVID situation, how you can work under COVID-19, how determine the crowd of the people in the retail world, what's happening in the factory or in civil engineering field. Those are the things that we are looking at, and depending on the use case, the function required is different. And based on these, to have expertise in these industries, we want a partnership and see how we can contribute to society.
その上ではやはり UK の皆さんというのは、我々も
UK
UK の皆さんと
people,
スタートアップそれから大企業でいろんな会社さんともすでにお話をさせてい
partnership with
ただい
various
ていますけ
startup.
れども、
We have various
やはり US の
discussions
プレイヤ
with the
ー、それか
startup
ら
companies in the
中国のプレイヤ
UK
ー、
as well
メ
as
ジャーな市場と同様に
companies
ですね、
as well
非
as
常に
the
大事な
companies in the United
パートナー
States and in
シップを
China.
持っている
They are a very important candidate for us.
それが一つですね。
That is one thing I wanted to
デ
say.
ータのアナリティクス、これも
And data analytics.
クラウド、それから先ほど申し上げたエッジ
Cloud
の側含めまして
and
ね、
on
機
edge,
械学習を含むデー
the
タのアナリ
machine
ティクス
learning,
力、そ
data
れから
analytics,
AI の
precision,
モデリングを
and
含むエン
AI's
ジニアリング力、こ
modeling
れはテ
engineering.
ィムさんもお話しされていたように
As
非常に
Tim
エクスパティー
mentioned
ズが
earlier
必
on,
要と
this requires a lot of
我々
expertise.
もAI のエンジニアの数
So
はまだまだ
we
足りないと思っていますので、
are
こういった
also
と
lacking
ころ
a
に
lot of
エンジニアリ
AI
ング力を持
engineers.
つ
So we
パート
want
ナーの
to
皆さんと組ませ
find
ていただく
companies,
のであれ
partners
ば、
who
UK の
have
皆さん
strength
と
in
まだ
this,
まだチャンスがあるというふう
where
に思い
I
ます。
believe that there are opportunities with
特に
us
です
and
ね、
such venture
ド
capitalist
ミナン
companies.
スをこう一緒
In
に築
terms
きましょう
of
みたいな
dominance,
方々よりも UK の皆
rather
さんが他のヨーロッ
than
パの皆さん
setting up a
も
dominance,
そうですけれども、
companies in the
やはり
UK and
オープ
other
ンにみん
European
なで
countries,
エコシステムを作りましょうというよう
they're
なお
like,
話
let's
に
make an
展開す
ecosystem
ることが非常に
together,
多いなというのが私の経験に基づくですね、UK
is
の皆さんと
what
の
my impression
大好きな印象。
of doing business with people in the UK.
それから特に具体的な例として申し上げますと、
And as a
その
concrete
AI を活用
example,
してセンシングのを
utilizing AI and improve
目
sensory,
で見て楽しむための画像
look
という
at,
領域は
visualize
その画質
the
を
image means how you can improve the image. And in computer vision, how you can increase the precision of the sensory is where we do the R&D. When I speak with the partners of AI,
もともと半導体屋ですので、
we are a semiconductor company.
活用してというよりもやっぱりハード
Rather
ウェア
than
の技術
using AI,
向上で
we had
達成してい
been
こうとしていた画質
achieving
改善とか
image censoring through hardwares, as well as
むしろ
increasing
こういう部分はハードウェア
other
の
areas.
R&D で
So those areas can be increased through hardware, and on these areas, the algorithm from machine learning, we are able to perhaps a better way to improve AI for image censoring, which will also increase the precision of the image. So the roadmap of the research has changed since we started the discussions with these AI companies. The partnership in the AI, I believe, is extremely important. And in the slide I showed you, the vision in normally use case, as well as we deploy POC. Europe is Europe, UK is UK, Japan is Japan. There is the localization, the regionalization approach is necessary. And in the local solutions, if we want to think about the solution in the United Kingdom, we would probably want to do a partnership with the UK and within Japan. I think Japan is full of a lot of use cases. And if UK would like to tap into the market to Japan who have such use cases, we would think that there are a lot of opportunities. And lastly, in terms of common sense, as Mr. Kumazaki had mentioned, de facto and de jure, we want to conduct planning in various ways, where lies there AA ethics, data governance, AI governance, how much AI precision we need in order for us to commercialize is I think we need to set a framework under the ecosystem, and that's another thing that we would like to ask for our partnership. That concludes my talk. So you said that there are various use cases and you need the sharing of the domains.
Well, following these two gentlemen's conversation, Tim, do you have any final words? If you could shortly, please.
Thank you, Sato-san, and thank you, Fumizaki-san and Tomomiya-san. Those were wonderful comments. I think my final comment is that I think the future for collaboration between Japan and UK for artificial intelligence is very strong. I'm very excited by it. One thing which is also adding to that excitement is the changes that the UK is currently going through, where we are in the process of striking a new trade agreement with Japan and UK. And part of that will make AI collaboration even easier. So the ability to share data between UK and Japan and other measures is a key part of that trade deal. So I think that the future for collaboration between UK and Japan companies to develop new AI innovations is very strong. Thank you very much.
AISUM2020 を締めくくるふさわしい議論だと
Well,
思います。
this was actually a great discussion to conclude the AISUM2020 and the participants online. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
ご登壇者の皆様、ありがとうございました。
And the panelists, thank you very much for participating in this
ケンブ
session.
リッジコンサルタン
And
ト社ワーク
this
ショップ
concludes a British Embassy Tokyo Cambridge Consultants Workshop. Best practices of UK Japan collaborating in AI for business prosperity.
これにて AISUM& トランザム with CTEC 2020
And
すべ
this
てのセッ
is the
ションが
end
終了いた
of
しま
all
し
the
た。
sessions for AISUM Transum with CTEC
4日間のご来
2020.
場、そし
Thank you
て
very
ライ
much
ブ
for
配信ご
your
視聴
participation
誠
in
に
the
あり
4
がとうご
days
ざいまし
as
た。
well as the viewing online.